All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back. It's Mark. Let's get right into this, shall we? So let me just change my charts. I got a couple of announcements to make here real quick. So on this stream, I'm probably not going to go the full amount of time that I usually do. Bitcoin's interesting here. I'll leave that chart because I want to talk about that real quick for a second before we get into trades. But yeah, I'm probably going to cut off a little early, and I'm going to explain why here in a moment. And also on Friday, I'm probably not going to be able to stream. Actually, I'm not going to be able to stream at this time on Friday. All right. So I'm letting you guys know this now up front so that you don't get all whatever. So let me explain to you why. All right. So hold on. I'm going to pull up. Let me see if I could pull it up here. Okay. So there is a. Let's see. Can I get this on here? Hold on a second. Let me just try this. Hold on. I got to show this to you. If I show it to you, it'll make a lot more sense. Okay, here it is. All right, so I'm going to explain this here. Let me just pull this up so you guys can see it. Okay. So, so let me explain to you why I have to cut out a little early today, and which means if we can't find any trades like in the first half hour or whatever, then most likely I'm not going to continue, and I don't want to force any trades, especially when I'm sort of in a hurry here. All right, so let me explain, and let me check my chat, make sure people are watching me. Anyone watching? Let's see who's over here. Hey, we got A. All right, we got Ketstan Snakis. All right. I can't see your name there, man. Grigoris. All right. Thanks for joining me, you guys. So again, I have to cut out a little early, like I said. So if there's no signals, then I'm not going to force it. But let me explain why, like I just said. And I'm not going to be here to stream on Friday at this time, but I will be streaming something. So check this out, guys. So I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with this. The ICTC International Crypto Trading Cup. It begins actually on Friday, and it goes till Saturday. And what they're doing basically is they're going to. Oh, hold on. Let me do this thing over here. Okay. So what they're doing is they're going to have like 8 traders. These guys here, they're supposed to be like the best traders or whatever, and they're going to compete with each other, and they're going to trade perpetual futures. All right, see these guys, and you can read all about it all here on this website. And they're actually going to stream. They're going to stream this event right here on this page. Okay, so if you go to whitebit.com, it's sponsored by Whitebit, which is a centralized exchange that's putting this thing together. They're European based. They're like at the same level as Coinbase, but they're based in Europe, and that's basically where their clientele come from, and that's what they're doing this promotion for. Right now, the reason why I'm mentioning this, and the reason why I have to cut out early, is because guess who's going to be the host? I am. So they invited me to be the host of this thing, like the main host. I'm going to be like effing Steve Harvey. Okay. And you're going to see me on this live stream on Friday at this time because it's 2:30 p.m. Central European time. So I'm going to be the guy, the face of this thing, me. All right. Me with 5 followers here on YouTube. They want me to come over there. But so I have to, once I'm done with the stream here, I have to head over there. So I'm going to Barcelona. I have to go there tonight, and then I have to take a transfer to Andorra because the country of Andorra is where this thing is happening. In Andorra. Yes, I know. I never heard of Andorra either. I'm like, where? When they invited me, I'm like, I have a question. Where's Andorra? It's this tiny little country between Spain and France. All right, it's on the border of Spain and France. It's a 180 square mile country. It's in the mountains. So they're gonna put me on some kind of bus or something. and I'm going to be in Andorra, and I got to host this thing Friday. Okay, so yeah, so that's why I have to cut out a little early today because I got to head to this thing, right? So guys, make sure you watch it. I mean, the link. This is the link. I mean, I'll put the link in the chat here, but it'll be streamed on this page, and I'm going to try to stream it from my YouTube channel because they told me that they can give me some kind of, I guess I have to give them a stream key or something like that, and they'll be able to stream it from my YouTube channel. So that may happen as well. I don't know. But here, I'll put that link in here. Let's see if I can put that in. So you guys should definitely check that out. I was keeping this quiet because there was a lot of drama around if I could get there or not, and that wasn't their fault. Okay, hold on. White bit. Okay. I believe this is the link. Okay, let me know, guys, if that works or not. Okay, I put the link in the chat there. Let me know if that works or if it doesn't work. But that should take you to that page that I just showed you. Okay, and so they're going to have these 8 guys competing with each other in real time. They're going to trade $50,000 USDT accounts, which apparently the money is real. The money's coming from the exchange. The exchange is depositing the money from what I read. They're going to deposit the money into the accounts, and these guys are going to trade real money, right? And whoever makes the most money obviously is going to win this award. And they're going to be running some other contests for like people that want to participate online and stuff like that. And okay, cool. So you're going to see me, and I'm going to, you would think I'd have to wear a suit, but they're like, no, you don't have to wear a suit. Okay, no suit. And I'm probably going to have to be careful with my jokes and stuff because, it's going to be like a kind of a foreign crowd. And you know how I am. And, so I'm probably going to have to be careful with the sense of humor. And I'm going to have to keep it clean and stuff. I keep it clean here. I'll be, I still have to be myself. But anyway, so that's what I'm doing. And I'm excited about it. And, I've never been to Barcelona and I've never been to Andorra, of all places. So, yeah. All right. So anyway, so let's see what's going on here. And that's the story. And I'm going to try to stream and make content from there as well if I have time. But remember, I'm going to be on their schedule, not on mine. So I'm going to see if I can do like a stream or something. If I have some time, whatever, maybe I can do. But if I stream on Friday, it's going to be on European time. So it'll be at like, the London Open. It's not going to be US because the US Open I'm going to be hosting. Okay. So cool. Yeah. I hope it's fun too. And yeah. And girls. Anyway, I want to be the host, man. It's not like I'm an attendee, just like, oh, I'm here to watch. I'm going to be like, hey, everyone, welcome to the ICTC 2025, blah, blah, blah. So, I'm like the DJ, man. I'm going to be like, Steve Harvey. I'm bald like him, too. So anyway, yeah, I'm excited. I just have to get my ass over there, though. Don't even get me started on that. So anyway, yeah. Let's get into Bitcoin. Let's get into this, really, shall we? So, real quick, Bitcoin update. So, I was calling for this pullback, right? Remember? The market rejected. Remember on Monday when we looked at the Trade Scanner Pro, there was a signal to go long on the 4-hour Trade Scanner Pro. Okay, remember that? Remember that? Well, the Trade Scanner Pro was correct. This thing, and remember I was saying it's a risky trade because it was in a bad location. So how do you place something like that? I just want to address that real quick. In that type of situation, the structure on the 4-hour chart made sense for that signal. All right. And I could turn that on here real quick. If I turn the Trade Scanner Pro on, we go to the 4-hour chart. That signal made sense, but the location was less than ideal. So what do you do in situations like that? Look, this was the signal. This signal was there on Monday when we took a look at this, and that was a beautiful long. Okay. In fact, what is this thing? This thing shows a profit of 2,600 points, right? But this thing is probably still, the trailing stop is probably still active on this thing. But so the point is, something like that. If it's in a less than ideal location, you simply trade smaller size. You take a more conservative position or something like that. You adjust, just recognizing that this thing can continue lower because the bigger picture points to lower. But look, that was worth a nice trade. So that's why context is important. But if the signal is there and the structure makes sense, because this structure does make sense, it can still be worth something, even though the bigger picture gives you sort of a warning, right? Does that make sense? Compared to if the long signal appeared here, that would be way more compelling. So I don't want you to think you have to avoid a signal just because it's a lower probability like that. It just means there are techniques that you can use to mitigate the risk more, right? You just have to take more, you have to control that risk more because you're taking more risk. You have to compensate for that. All right. Just wanted to mention that real quick. Let's take a look at the Trade Scanner Pro here on the MNQ, because that's what we're trying to do. For those of you that may be just checking out the stream now, I stream here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at the market open, right? We look for trades on the NASDAQ futures, the micro NASDAQ futures, because the goal is to beat the eval. I have an Apex evaluation account here, as you can see, and I'm up basically $1,000, and I need to make $3,000. So, like I said, I'm going to be very conservative today. I don't want to force trades. If there's nothing here, there's nothing here, and I got to go. All right. But I figured, hey, we'll give it a try. We'll take a look. Maybe there's something. So as you guys know, here, I'm going to turn the Trade Scanner Pro off on this time frame because we're not interested in that. Remember, the Trade Scanner Pro is a confirmation tool. It's not a forecasting tool. You still have to do the forecasting. And that's what I do here on every stream, and everything is documented. So you could see the rationale, you could see how I come up with the idea, and then you can see how I use the Trade Scanner Pro to confirm the idea and simplify the decision-making process. If you want to check out the Trade Scanner Pro, you see the link up here on the screen. Try it out for 14 days. It's free. You can cancel anytime. I highly recommend you try it out. But make sure you watch these streams. They're all on my channel. Watch them. Watch the playback, because there are a variety of situations that you need to be aware of that you're not going to figure out from the Trade Scanner Pro itself. It's not intuitive. All right. Now, as you guys know, I like to start with the daily time frame for one reason, really, and what I'm looking for are the levels, right? I'm just looking for some levels, some reference points. I want the overnight high and low, and I want yesterday's high and low. That's all I'm trying to get from this chart, nothing else. So that's yesterday's low. Here's the overnight low right there, right? Then we have yesterday's high, and then we have the overnight high. That's all I'm interested in. I really don't care about anything else because it's not going to be relevant to a 1 minute or a 30-second chart, which is where I'm taking the trades. Remember, when I'm using the Trade Scanner Pro, I know exactly that I'm going for 30-second and 1 minute time frame trades. I'm not jumping around. You're not going to see me, 5 minute here and 15 minute there. No. So you have to go in, especially if you're looking for day trades, you have to go in with the predetermined time frame in mind. It's very important that you do that. Do not jump around looking for signals. Okay? Now, so I got that. Let's go to our hourly chart, because the hourly chart is where we get our context from. The hourly chart basically helps give us our trade idea, right? Because that's where we're going to get our sense of momentum from. And the Trade Scanner Pro is a momentum type of tool. It looks for pullbacks, and it's measuring the momentum. So I want to get a sense of what side of the market should I be working on. Well, let's see what the chart says here. So first of all, what can we say? I'm looking at trend, right? Trend structure. Recent data shows that. What is that? That is a consolidation, is it not? So when I zoom out a bit, the general picture, we can argue this consolidation is a higher low consolidation, which is typically a sign of strength, right? So if it's a higher low consolidation, then support levels, especially the range low, are going to be higher probability. And the range highs, because we're in a consolidation, these range highs may be good for day trades. There's a greater chance that they break and this thing breaks out because the general trend is bullish. It doesn't mean that they will break out, but what that means is if I'm going to be aggressive, right, I should be aggressive on the long side, not on the short side. So I should not be shorting these levels aggressively. Like, you don't, because we do have a consolidation, I shouldn't be closed. I shouldn't have a closed mind as far as shorting. I shouldn't say, okay, no shorts. I shouldn't say that. I should be open to shorts, but I have to be more conservative, meaning I expect less from them, meaning smaller size, or I'm quick to get out. Maybe I don't even wait for the stop. I just get out right away because there's a greater chance that this level breaks, right? That's the mindset that I have to go in with. So I'm interested in the long side, right, in general, but I have conflicting information here. That's a little bit conflicting. We have a little mini consolidation on this hourly chart, little mini consolidation. That's a lower high, right? Now, it's not relevant to all of this because it's tiny. It hasn't spent much time doing that, but it is a lower high. And we broke the support and we have a lower low that's taking place as I speak, right? And we're on our way into support. So this is a little tricky. This momentum is bearish. And I just finished making a bullish argument. That may be confusing. But the thing is, what you have to realize is this carries a lot less weight than the bigger picture, but I still need to pay attention to it. Okay, especially if I'm planning to work on 30-second or 1-minute time frames. What role should come? Oh, good question. Yeah, FOMC. Because that comes out. I forgot to mention that. That comes out today at 2 p.m. Eastern time, right? The announcement in the press conference at 2:30. So the FOMC, usually the way that plays into this is the markets will get volume will typically taper off after the first half hour because the most volume is like right now. And then after 10 a.m., that's usually when volume starts to taper off. And usually it's a bad idea to trade going into the FOMC. Although there could be signals, it's usually you're better off just staying away until after the meeting, right? When the press conference happens, first you have the meeting, you get a wild move, and then press conference. That's really where you want to look for signals, really. Like that's where volume comes back from 2:30 to 4 o'clock, and things can get wild, right? So going into it, it's going to be more, in my opinion, harder because volume dries up, right? Less follow through, and the market may not have much of a drive behind it. So it's going to be kind of like this, right? Not really going anywhere. I mean, look, it spent hours in this little tiny range. It spent hours in here. That's a number of hours. So, and now we have a little bit of a sell-off taking place, but I would not take that very seriously again, because where's this market going pre-FOMC, right? Now that meeting is of course going to be all eyes on that meeting. There's a low chance of him cutting from what I understood. That may have changed. I don't know. But if there are any surprises, this market will go nuts, right? And based on that bigger picture, where the NASDAQ is on the bigger picture, on that hourly chart, on the daily chart, there's a lot of room to pull back, right? It can go either way. It doesn't really matter what the chart says because the chart has no effect on Chairman Powell's choices. It's going to be how people react to it, right? And if he says something dramatic, you're going to see a big candle. It could be bullish, could be bearish, right? So we can't pretend to know in advance, well, I think he's going to say this, and I think the market's going higher. It's random. It's a coin flip. That's how we have to look at it. All right. So again, so my goal here is to figure out, well, which way do I go with this? I mean, I can make arguments on both sides. I could say, well, it's pulling back and things are generally bullish. I mean, look at this move right here. Things are generally bullish. I should be looking for longs. It's a pullback. But at the same time, I can say, but there's bearish momentum, right? This is a lower high, lower low situation. But if I'm shorting now, I'm shorting into near a support area, sort of near a support. So I have to decide. But here's one tip for you. When it's conflicting like that, like there's no clear-cut bearish trend, bullish or bearish trend here. There's nothing clear-cut. When it's vague like that and you can make an argument on both sides, it's best usually to just step aside. That's the best thing to do, especially if you're a beginner. Don't force trades. No, we're getting a pin bar. If you're like, yeah, I can make arguments on both sides, it's not clear, step aside. This is an unclear situation because I can argue bearish, I can argue bullish. Now, So here's the way I'm going to have to play this. As now being as a more advanced trader, we're in the middle of this area. See, we're not at a specific support. We're not at a specific resistance. In situations like this, I usually suggest going with the momentum. So the momentum of my time frame, which is probably going to be bearish, right? When I switch to the 30-second and 1 minute. And the only time I'm really going to want to think counter trend is when we're actually at the support. So that when we're actually, if price is actually there, that's when I want to kind of work on the counter trend mode, right? Which gets much more advanced. I try to avoid that because I understand it's very confusing for people. And I don't want people to be confused. In order to use a Trade Scanner Pro, you have to be confident. You have to understand the information that you're consuming, and you have to be confident. If you're confused, it's not going to work, okay? So with that said, we have a little bit of a conflicting situation. I'm going to lean bearish. Let's take a look at the 30-second chart. All right, so the 30-second chart, we just got that pin bar. Let me turn the Trade Scanner Pro back on. Oh, look, there's a short signal that was there, and it's about to get stopped out. Good thing I had done my analysis first. Look, that just got stopped out. You see that? That was, I guess, called short from this move over here. And look, we're just working our way higher. That's that pin bar on the hourly chart that we're just looking at. Okay, and I just finished saying, well, I'm probably going to lean on the short side. But look where we are. So we're in the middle of nowhere here. The trend now is bullish. See that? Trend is bullish. That's what I'm going to try to work with here. Okay, because the bigger picture is so mixed. I'm going to try to work with that. Now, what is my 1 minute saying? Let's take a look at the 1 minute. I'm going to switch this over to a 1 minute chart. Let me turn these moving averages off. We don't need those. That was just like a filter idea. My 1 minute says trend is bearish. See what I mean about conflicting? And look, now I'm getting a heads up for a short. Okay. I'm still open to the short side. The market may be changing though, but I'm still open to the short side. So I don't need to be in counter trend mode. Well, actually, I'm not going to, in order for me to get the short on this time frame, I need to be in counter trend mode on the 30-second. I need to turn all those on. See that? Getting heads up there too as well, because I switched to counter trend mode. We may get a short, we may get a signal here. If we get the signal, I'm going to take 2 contracts. Okay. In recent streams, I've been doing 3, but I'm going to be a little more conservative today. It is FOMC day, and it's good to be a little more conservative. Now, so we get the heads up. In the next 3 to 5 candles, we may get a signal here. Now, that first short signal that was on the chart when I pulled this thing up, that got stopped right out. Again, so that's a great example as to why you don't just jump into a signal just because a signal is there. We've done some analysis here, and I've arrived at the idea that I'm willing to work on the short side, right? So I'm looking for the short signal because that's what I'm looking for the Trade Scanner Pro to confirm. This move, though, is not exactly like we broke this little minor resistance here. That's a little bit of a red flag as far as shorting this thing, right? It's a little bit of a red flag. We shouldn't do that if we're weak, right? So let's see, we may get a signal here. I'll try it. If it gives me a hard time, I'm probably not going to stick around. Okay, that's a nice candle. Now, on the close of that candle, we're likely to see the signal. And the 1 minute's trying to give us the heads up too. There it is. Okay, I'm short. I shorted 2 contracts. Okay, I usually like to wait for this candle. Ooh, it's 10 o'clock. No wonder. Ooh, I don't like shorting right at 10 o'clock. All right, well, I'm in. Let's hope for the best. Okay, so that looks good, but it can change. So I took the short on the 30-second chart. What happened to my signal? Oh, the candle needs to close. Or the signal, if the candle gets too big, the signal will vanish. All right, closed. So our signal's official now. My 1 minute is also on that 1 minute close. We're likely to see a signal there because we got the heads up. You see that? Now this 10 o'clock, usually 10 o'clock establishes the opening range. And a lot of times news comes out at 10 o'clock. not all the time, but 10 o'clock is an inflection point during the day. Every day it's the same story. 10 a.m. is an inflection point where you get some type of erratic price action, right? And there's some reason for that. I don't know the exact reason, but there's a 10 o'clock thing. And there's like 10 o'clock. There's also the 2:30 p.m. reversal. That's also a thing. It's a tendency that we see regularly. Okay. Ooh, that's not good. All right. So it just retouched the entry price, giving us a pin bar. Sometimes when you get a situation like this, if we get a green and it goes back to red after touching the entry price, that could be another entry, or you can use that as an add. That's advanced. Again, you're not going to learn that from the Trade Scanner Pro itself. You're only going to learn that from watching my streams. That's why you have to watch these streams. All right. Now, in this trade, what is my risk? 30, is that right? 30 points? That's not bad. I'm not going to take 30 points of risk, though. I'm going to bang out early because I'm not going to sit here and watch this thing lose money. So 30 points of risk. And if we multiply that, oh, look, we got a 1 minute signal. Look at that. The 1 minute signal just opened. You see that? So that's if you want to work on the 1 minute chart, you can use that as a reference. That's nice to see, but it's not necessary. Like you don't have to wait for like a compound signal like that. It's just the 30-second gave us a signal a little earlier. All right, that makes sense. So what is my profit objective here? 45 points. All right. That's about $80. It's $90 per contract. I have 2 contracts on. So that would be $180 profit if I'm able to get there. But this market's reluctant right now. See that? It's not following through. By the way, when you get weakness, right? When you get a short, it shouldn't be consolidating like this. That's not a sign of weakness, right? Weakness is big candles. When people are selling off, it's big candles. That's what weakness looks like. Big candles. Not let's hesitate for a while and let's play with ourselves for 5 minutes here. Like, no, that's not momentum. So that right there is a red flag for me. This is not right. That's not what I want to see. So, it should be going like in a straight line. That's like this. Like, look at this price action back here. You see that right there? See how it just gives you straight, like just big candles? That's bearish momentum. Okay, big candles, not this consolidation nonsense. When it consolidates like that, what that typically means is no one is actually selling. And all the shorts like me are like, why is this thing selling off? I don't understand what's going on. And then next thing you know, it's going to go vertical green because now we all have to get out. That's what's actually, that's what that tells me right there. So I don't like it. Now I'm trying to give it a chance because, I've been very tight with these trades in recent streams because, my objective is to just come out green and advance the account. I'm not looking for home runs. I'm not looking to, do anything dramatic here. I just want to come out green. So I'm trying to give the market a chance to pay me, but sometimes, because I'm really tight with this stuff, it's like, all right, I'm just gonna get out. And then a lot of times when I do that, I leave a lot of money on the table. But again, and the whole point of the Trade Scanner Pro is to minimize that second guessing. But because I'm dealing with the prop account and because I'm trying to reach that specific goal, I have some extra layers of complexity with this that you would not have if you're not demonstrating how to trade using the Trade Scanner Pro on a prop account. You know what I mean? So, all right, goodbye. I've had it. This is not how it should be behaving. So I got out. Okay. Now it's a premature exit. Let's see what I have. Oh, hold on a second here. So I made $9 there, $10. Okay, hold on. Oh, wait. My phone's ringing. Okay, hold on. Oh, that thing's putting on. All right, hold on a second. I just got back. Oh, I just got back in with one contract. You see that? That was actually a mistake. Okay. Hey, maybe this one works. All right, that was a mistake. But the trade is still valid and it never went to the stop. Okay. So, all right, you know what? I'm not going to mess around with this. That was nice. Okay. I'm up $23. Whatever. This is so far. I mean, the trade is still valid, but like I said, I don't have time to mess around here. And I got to be wrapping this up here momentarily. So let's just see like how this plays out. Well, it's a good thing I got out of that mistake. Um, like I said, this price action is not characteristic of something that's bearish. Look at this. Now we're back at the blue line again. That's again, if you missed the trade, and you could do this with larger time frames as well. If you missed the trade, this could be an opportunity to get back in or add if it turns around red again, right? If we get some green and then you get a rejection like this, something like that, that would justify another entry or an add. But if it just keeps going green straight to the stop, then this thing stops out. See what I mean? This is not characteristic of something that's bearish. So we had this. This is a higher low consolidation. You see that? Was I right? So, and I'm out. I'm not messing with this. See, there's the possible reentry right there. But this is the erratic nature of a pre-FOMC meeting market. All right, I'm in this. I'm all right. So I'm all right. It's 32 minutes. As you can see, I'm getting nervous here. I gotta like wrap things up. Yeah. Okay. So I'll stick around for maybe another couple of minutes. Like I said, I had to cut this off early. I explained why, you guys. Let me see who's watching me. Anyone watching me? Oh, I got a little more people on Twitter. A little bit more. Um, Yeah. So it's generally it's not acting on the weak side. So that's information that you need to use to adjust. Remember, this is the art of adjusting. It's not becoming Mr. Opinionated. Oh, I think the market is going to do this. It doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what I think. The market is always right. I'm just a student. I just listen. And I'm not always right. I try to do my best to follow. If the market throws a curveball at me, I have to adjust. And the only way I could protect myself is just risk management, right? But the market is king. That's it. Whatever the market wants to do, hey man, I'll stay out of your way. I just try to follow. That's it, right? There's no room for ego in this game. So if it's not, something that's weak has a certain type of behavior. Something that's not weak has a certain type of behavior. And over time, you start to recognize that and be like, okay, so now that I know that this thing's acting strong, I should probably not continue to short it. Like in this situation, like this trade hasn't stopped out yet, but maybe, so let's say we get the failed high over here and it goes below the blue line one more time, that you can justify trying it one more time. You could try that out. The 1 minute is still open as well. But if that doesn't work, don't force it. Don't force it. Like this is a bullish structure. It doesn't mean you just switch and go bullish because remember, look where we are in the bigger picture, right? Back to the 1 hour chart. We're right in the middle of the range here. We're not really at any support. We're not at any resistance. We're just in the middle. And we got that bullish pin bar. Look at the hourly pin bar. That hourly pin bar, that's the opening range right there. Okay. The low and the high of that's the 9 o'clock bar. No, so let's go to the 30 minute. This candle, there's a trade on this time. Let me turn that off because we don't want to be confused. This first green candle right here, that's our opening range. This is our opening range, right? From 9:30 to 10 o'clock. That's your opening range. And if we're pushing above the opening range, that's also a sign of being bullish. So this may be a higher low. So far, this is a higher low formation, and it may be better now to lean on the bullish side. Forget shorts. So you see, I started out with the short idea. We're in the middle of the range, but the opening range breakout can give us some extra information there to help us adjust. So seeing that we just broke the opening range high, look, this 1 minute's about to get stopped out, and I'm not in it. I could now be more confident with leaning on the long side. Also, what does my chart momentum say? What does it say up here? Let's see. Remember, because I switched to counter trend mode, right? It says bullish, trend is bullish, okay? And I'm in counter trend mode. So if I turn counter trend mode off, the trade will go away. See that? And look, there's a bullish trade that's been in play. Don't be confused by that. There's a bullish trade that's sitting there. I can't do anything with that now. So don't, maybe it gives you a chance. This is one of those situations. Maybe it gives you a chance to re-enter at the blue line. Now keep in mind, the Trade Scanner Pro on the 1 minute, am I on, no, I'm not in counter trend here. The trend here changed. Remember it was bearish before? It changed to bullish. So this trade, so I'm still in the right mode. This trade needs to stop out in order for this trade to vanish. If you find that confusing, turn it off. Just turn the Trade Scanner Pro off, right? Because we want to work on the bullish side. I know that that's going to be confusing for people, but that's why I'm showing you, because you're not going to learn this in the book, right? So we have a long on the 30 second showing us a 30 second, which was there the whole time. And we have a short on the 1 minute, which is what I was trying to pursue. This short is now not relevant anymore because we want to work on the long side, right? So I could just turn that off. That's what I should do. So I'm not confused, right? And now we're going to try to work on the long side because I'm trying to work on the side of the momentum, and we broke above the opening range. So I should lean on the long side unless I get some sort of break of like a support. If we start breaking supports, then I may have to switch again. Remember, part of this confusion is because we have the FOMC in a couple hours. That's why, like I said before, we had that conflicting. Remember when we were coming up with the idea, it was conflicting? And what was I saying? You should probably just stay out, right? That's usually the best policy, especially if you're new in paper trade. What platform are you? I use Binance. Okay, well, so I can't trade the NASDAQ futures on Binance or any kind of centralized exchange. I'm using Apex, right? It's a prop firm. So Apex is this is an Apex account, and I'm using Tradeovate through TradingView, through the connection on TradingView. I'm using the Tradeovate platform, and there's an integration with TradingView, so the trades are actually happening through TradingView. So I'm actually using TradingView as the platform, but Tradeovate is actually the parent platform where this thing is coming from, and that is assigned through Apex, which is the prop firm that I'm using for this, okay, to answer your question. But Binance, yeah, as far as like Bitcoin and stuff like that, actually MEXC is the one that I use now. I could use MEXC because they don't do KYC, and MEXC would be the one for like the Bitcoin and the altcoins. Okay, if you trade Bitcoin. All right, guys, I got to wrap this up. Okay, so again, thanks for watching. I hope you got something out of the stream. It was very educational here. I thought it was pretty informative. An interesting situation. Keep watching the charts, maybe, and just be aware that at 2 p.m., the FOMC, they have their meeting, and then that the announcement is at 2 p.m., so there could be a wild movement either way, followed by the press conference. All right, you guys. So remember, check my channel out. I'm not going to stream on Friday at this time because I'm going to be hosting, and that will be, you'll see me on that live stream, which hopefully we can get running from my channel, but it'll be on that link that I put in the channel here earlier at the white bit link. So go over there and check that out, okay? That's going to be very exciting. Thanks, guys. Thank you. All right, so enjoy the rest of your day, the rest of your evening, wherever you're in the world, and thank you very much for watching.